I remember a rabbi who several years ago told me that he was standing in front of a class and he said to them, "Where is God?" And they all said, "God is everywhere." And he said, "That's right." And one kid went, "Got him." Because if God is actually in physical space, that makes perfect sense. Like, is God in my pocket? Is God under here? But the mystics took one version of that literally. They said, if God exists everywhere in the world, where is there space for the world? Because God takes up all the space. It's a sort of problem of theological physics. And a very famous Kabbalistic rabbi, Yitzhak Luria, drawing on older traditions, proposed the solution of what he called tzimtzum. That God, in fact, is everywhere, but in order to allow the world to be created, God contracted into God's self and created a chalal panui, an empty space, a void. And into that void came creation. It's a beautiful image, and it's also a useful image. Because in our own lives, increasingly, we have no chalal panui. We have no empty space. Everything is taken up by something, and if we have an empty space, we look at our phones because we can't stand the empty space. One expert on creativity said the reason the best ideas come to you in the shower is because it's the only place where you're actually not looking at your phone. So in the shower, you actually have to live with your own head for a little while. And when you do, remarkably, creation rushes in. Which is ironic because Shabbat is supposed to be the day on which you don't create. And yet it is the day on which you leave the space to create all the other days. We think of doing nothing as doing nothing, but doing nothing is really doing something. And we've gotten less good as society has advanced at doing nothing. But remember that nothing means doing no thing. That's why the mystics refer to God as ayin, which means nothing. Because God is not a thing. God is no thing. And when you begin to think of negative space and not doing and nothing, I know it might sound Buddhist to you, but it comes right out of the Kabbalah. And Shabbat is the day of nothing. And so it allows for many, many somethings. We're coming up on Hanukkah. And Hanukkah is a holiday of light that takes place in darkness. If there isn't darkness, then you can never perceive light. If there isn't nothing in your life, then you can't appreciate something. Shabbat is a day of letting go so that other things can enter. It's a day of negative victories so that during the rest of the week, positive victories can come. As you run around the world, think of that image that even God knew, I got to get out of this space or there won't be any place for there to be something new, something to grow, something to flourish, some new lights, some new possibilities. Shabbat is a day of cessation, a day of ceasing, so that we can take a breath, renew ourselves, and be better us in the week ahead.